My name is Gail Harper, and I met Phil by calling him on his Nazareth carpentry business, because I too cannot hammer two pieces of wood together without getting black and blue fingers, okay? And then meeting him on Facebook with all his beautiful pictures of his birds. We're kindred spirits. We're both veterans. We're both Christians. We love the Broncos, and we love Jordan Speed. I taught my grandson how to golf, but I love my Padres. Okay, we would have a battle with that one, Pastor. Okay, we would definitely argue. My daughter's dad, my first husband, he's a Dodger fan, and I will bet him every year on emails, okay, who's going to win what game? We bet a quarter, okay. But Phil also had something in common too. We're both going through cancer treatments. And being a golfer, this is crazy because this is all about Phil. But I have bought my Susan G. Komen golf set, the woman's entire golf set. A month later, I was diagnosed. I've only used the putter one time. I haven't gone out golfing. That's kind of sad because you should, right? But I see so many other things today that where Phil and I have things in common. Being a veteran, I was in nursing. I worked for the VA hospitals down in Long Beach, San Diego, Sepulveda, West LA, Wisconsin, you know. And I love the outdoors. It's just like, I think sometimes we may have worked together in some areas. I mean, it's just, I'm seeing and hearing all this today. And I go, we could have been brothers and sisters. We could have been best pals. But the short period of time that I knew him through Facebook, and I'm sad that I didn't get to go to the VA where I worked for many years to see him in hospice, was that he was kind and he was so thoughtful towards me and what I was going through that he prayed with me and I prayed with him just as Elizabeth does and everybody here does. Such a generous soul. I mean, I hope that I have learned from him and I will carry forward that generosity to others. And it's very important. And if you see someone hurting, give them a hug. If you don't know them, still give them a hug. It's just like being a veteran and I see someone wearing a ball cap. I go up and I'll give them a hug and they just go like, okay. And I go, you're a veteran, I'm a veteran, hi, how are you? You know. But I love his stories. I may have to get his books. Those books sound fantastic. I just gave Elizabeth a beautiful card and a book on birds to color because I can't sketch. I can do stick people. So I gave her a book that she can color on her own and keep and frame. And then, may I read this poem to you? Is it okay? I turned my phone on, I turned it off. So watch me get a phone call. Do you have me on pause? I'm sorry, I should turn it on. I'm so grateful that the Navy Honor Guard came. That was very moving. Okay. Bear with me, I have a new phone. And my Civil Air Patrol cadets call me, my nickname is EMP, electromagnetic pulse, because I break everything electronic. Okay, I think I had sent this a copy to you via Facebook. This is Phil talking to you, okay? As I sit in heaven and watch you every day, I try to let you know with signs I never went away. I hear you when you're laughing and watch you as you sleep. I even place my arms around you to calm you as you weep. I see you wish the days away, begging to have me home. So I try to send you signs so you know you are not alone. Don't feel guilty that you have life that was denied to me. Heaven is truly beautiful. Just you wait and see. So live your life, laugh again, enjoy yourself, be free. Then I know with every breath you take, you'll be taking one for me. God bless you, sweetheart. God bless all the family.
I am one of Phil's daughters through the marriage of my mom. I could tell you several stories, but just hearing about Phil and how inspirational he was, just the knowledge, I share a lot of that. I love school, I love to learn. And I'll never forget one of the first times when I started nursing school, Phil showed me the easiest way to get an IV, and I carried that through with me my whole nursing career. I still share that with new nurses today. When I applied to get in for my master's at Vanderbilt and had to write my acceptance letter, or a letter to the acceptance board, after I wrote it, I sent it to Mom and Phil because I thought if anybody can make me sophisticated enough to get in an Ivy League, it was Phil. So I wanted him to edit it. But the two stories that I shared on Facebook when Phil passed were about my son, Adonis, who he accepted like he was his own. And we all know how much Phil loves the Dodgers. But the generous spirit that he is, he followed our Cardinals all the time, just because that was Adonis's team and he loved them. And so Phil, the last World Series that we got to go to with the Cardinals, Phil was on the phone with us before we could be on the phone with him sometimes. We're texting through Mom about the Cardinals. And Adonis, our coined term for Phil was actually paparazzi, because the last time we visited and Adonis was here, Phil always had his camera, taking pictures of everything and teaching him about it. And at that time, Adonis was younger, and so he thought Phil was the paparazzi. And so that's what we continue to refer to him in our household as paparazzi. So anyway, those were my stories.
There's a small group of us from Golden Queen Mining Company. Phil was not just from Covert. He was part of our family. I lost a family member, my mom, last year. A week ago this year, and Phil and Elizabeth were very supportive of me. And then as Phil's health started taking a turn, our friendship grew. I was able to take pictures every morning that I could and make his hospice stay not so horrible. He never asked me to do that. I one day just took a picture and said, "Here," and it brought him so much joy. And then he texted me and apologized for what he thought was a curt comment he made to me in person. So even as he laid there, not feeling so good, he was getting all of his ducks in a row and still enriching friendships. That's why Phil will always remain a part of Golden Queen family and part of mine. It's been a pleasure, and I continue to be grateful to be here today to share him with the family and the children. Thank you.
I wanted to say something about Phil. I was like the second person on Golden Queen site up there, and we got stuffed as geologists in this blue house in the middle of nowhere. And it really wasn't my thing to come to California from originally from Colorado, and I'm used to trees and a lot prettier scenery. Well, one day we're in this blue house, the blue house, and this guy shows up, and I'm like, who is this old man? Well, it was Phil. And so we introduced ourselves, and right away we hit it off because we're both Broncos fans. And then all of a sudden I noticed this guy has an interest in rocks. And I'm going, rocks, huh? So I said, well, yeah, you ever see a rock, just let me know. And from that point on, I kept getting these texts from Phil. I'd be back at my house in Las Vegas, and all of a sudden the phone would go off, and here's Phil. And I thought it was an emergency at the blue house or something. No, it was him sending me a text photo of a rock, wondering if there's gold in it and stuff. And so I'd always come back and he'd show me the rock. I go, okay, Phil, I'm coming back on this day. And he would come back and he'd show me this rock. Well, to this day, I have a rock in front of our office called Phil's Rock. It has absolutely no gold in it. But here's the beauty of it. It's a rock that he found near our mine that doesn't belong there. So it's like this mystery rock for me as a geologist. I'm trying to figure out where he got it from and the meaning of this rock. And it really does mean something to our gold deposit. It's just not a lot of people see, you know, the meaning of something like that. But Phil always watched over us. He'd always come by to make sure we were okay. And I was very thankful. And the last story is one day we were logging, looking at rocks as usual, and we're talking. And out of the blue, he just turns on, he goes, "Whoa, stop!" And I'm like, oh, I thought there was a criminal getting ready to attack us or something. He whips out his binoculars and, "Did you see that bird?" And I said, "Oh, you love birds too." I love birds. And then I got to tell him about, in mining, we used to put a lot of mine claim posts out there. And when I'm out in Nevada, you see these white PVC posts. And I told him, if you were to take one of those posts, bend it over and slowly lift it up, you would find sometimes up to 20 bird skulls in there. So it was my mission and kind of one of my boys that we'd go around when we see these posts to pull them out, count the bird heads, and lay it down. But we had a lot of things in common, and today I see we had a lot more in common, and I'm thankful for coming, and my condolences to the family.
More secrets, Mike? But we have trees out here. Josh. Yeah, I know how you feel. 21 years ago, I flew out from New York City because the church said, "Hey, we're looking for a pastor," and I wanted to go somewhere warm. And they told me about winters here. And I remember going through Mojave, and you know, when you're back east, you think about Bakersfield, Mojave, it's like a big deal. You know, I got through the whole bit. And when we went through Mojave, I turned to them and I said, "Well, when are we going through Mojave?" And they said, "We went through it." And I went. And a couple of years ago, I called a friend in New York City and I said, "Send me a ticket real fast." And they said, "What's going on, Ron?" I said, I'm getting a cheddar with McDonald's coming in. And I was, from New York City. I listened to all your great talk about Phil and learned so much more about him. I will miss him too. But again, you know, he has left a witness in your life and so many other people's lives that will live on. What a role model. A friend of mine many years ago, and you gotta understand that these are people from New York, Philadelphia, you know, back east, and, you know, take it with a grain of salt. But he gave me a great quote many years ago. He said, "Live your life in such a way that even the funeral director will be sorry when you're gone." Think about it. Phil's wife is a testimony to his faith, and it will live on. Another special song